Vaccinations and Risk of Autism. Hello, my name is Katherine Anderson. I am an undergraduate student at the University of Kentucky. I am majored in agricultural biotechnology. I have been a pharmacy technician for the past 4 years and hope to become a pharmacist. Today I want to discuss an issue that affects the health of America's children, the frightening trend of parents choosing not to vaccinate their children. Mumps, measles, and whooping cough. These are diseases that can have devastating effects, but these are all diseases that have been controlled with nationwide vaccination programs. Most of us started on a federally mandated vaccination schedule when we were just a few months old. Our parents had to produce immunization certificates when we started school. Below is an example of one of the vaccine regimens that doctors recommend. Once getting infants and young children vaccinated was considered a regular routine practice, but with questions about the safety of vaccines, this is not the case anymore. The trend in the past few years has been toward opting out of vaccination programs. It has gotten popular for parents to sign a form requesting vaccination exemption. All states allow medical exemptions for persons who have medical reasons not to vaccinate. Most states allow religious exemptions, and some allow philosophical or personal belief exemptions. The trend for parents to exempt their children from vaccinations has arisen out of a fear that vaccinations cause autism. Autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disability that is caused by differences in how the brain functions. According to the Center for Disease Control, 1 in 68 children have been identified with ASD in the United States. I would like to examine how the fears that routine child vaccines may cause ASD have developed. My objectives today are to list and discuss some factors that have contributed to the anti-vaccination movement, provide reasons why mandatory vaccinations are necessary for public health, convince you that benefits of childhood vaccination programs far outweigh the risks. First, let's discuss why parents have started to question the safety of childhood vaccines and are refusing to participate in what has been a common medical practice for over 50 years. Number 1. Andrew Wakefield. In 1998, Andrew Wakefield, a British surgeon and researcher, published a study in The Lancet in which he claimed to have found a link between the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine and regressive autism, along with the inflammation of the colon. Wakefield's findings were later declared fraudulent. He was charged with scientific misconduct and stripped of his medical license. The Lancet fully retracted the article, but the damage had been done. MMR vaccination rates in the United Kingdom dropped from 93% to 75% and as low as 50% in some parts of London. In 2008, cases of the measles had reached epidemic levels again. This falsified report linking MMR vaccines and autism was spread through media and by celebrities on talk shows. Parents of autistic children needed something to blame, and the anti-vaccine movement was launched. Number 2. Thimerosal. Vaccines once contained thimerosal, a form of mercury that was used as a preservative. In 1998, 30 different vaccines contained thimerosal. Children receiving these vaccines had mercury levels that were considered to exceed the safe limit. Sally Bernard, founder of the advocacy group Safe Minds, stated that mercury poisoning and autism seem too much alike to rule out mercury as a cause. Mercury poisoning can cause brain damage, and symptoms can be similar to those of autism. Studies by the Institute of Medicine and others published by the New England Journal of Medicine have shown no link between thimerosal-containing vaccines and autism. As a precaution, thimerosal was removed from all childhood vaccines by 2001. Number 3. Timing of onset of symptoms. Another reason that some parents have blamed vaccines is the timing. Some parents notice changes in children shortly after they are vaccinated. Their kids were developing normally, but then they suddenly stopped interacting with people and lost language abilities. This is called regressive autism. Studies of regressive autism tend to focus on an environmental toxin, and many feel that vaccines might carry this toxin. The medical community argues that the onset of symptoms and vaccinations is a coincidence. Autism symptoms tend to become apparent around the same time that children are scheduled to get routine vaccinations. Number 4, personal choice. Parents feel that they should be able to decide what is best for their own child. A lot of uninformed general public would agree with this position. We all think that we have the right to make our own decisions, but this is only true when that decision does not cause harm to others. In order for vaccination programs to be successful, the majority of the public has to have received that vaccine. Now I would like to look at reasons why mandatory vaccinations are necessary for public health. Number 1, immunity against infectious diseases. Vaccines can protect both the people who receive them and those with whom they come in contact. Vaccines have prevented countless cases of infectious diseases and saved millions of lives. Vaccines work on the same principle as the human body's own immune system, producing antibodies to germs or other foreign invaders, also known as antigens. Vaccines contain the killed or weakened antigens that cause diseases. These antigens are not strong enough to cause the disease, but they are strong enough to cause the immune system to build up antibodies against them. Through vaccination, children develop immunity without suffering from the actual diseases that vaccines prevent. Number 2, herd immunity. Immunizing individual children also helps to protect the health of our community, especially those who cannot be immunized. These include those too young to be vaccinated, those who cannot be vaccinated for medical reasons, and those whose immune systems will not make an adequate response to vaccinations. This is the concept of herd immunity, where the majority of the public needs to receive the vaccine for vaccination programs to work. For a single individual, there is a possible chance that the vaccination does not work, and that person would never know as long as there is no exposure to the disease. A sufficient number of people must be vaccinated to protect those whose vaccination may not have worked. Number 3, U.S. measles outbreak of 2014-2015. According to the CDC, from December 28, 2014 to April 17, 2015, 147 people from 7 states were reported to have measles and are considered part of a large outbreak linked to Disneyland. The initial source of this virus most likely became infected with measles while overseas, then visited the amusement park while infectious. Thousands could have been exposed. The number of cases of measles soared in the U.S. last year, with 610 reported. That is the highest since 2000, when the disease was thought to be eliminated. The CDC ties this increase to the decrease in child vaccinations. Disneyland is in Orange County, California, which reported the highest rate of measles in the state. Orange County is also the highest number of unvaccinated children. Number 4, no link between vaccines and autism. Since Wakefield publishes now retracted findings, numerous studies, including millions of children in several countries, consistently show no significant difference in autism rates between children who got the MMR vaccine and those who didn't. Even the most recent study, published just last week in the April 21st issue of the Journal of the Medical Association, found no evidence that MMR vaccine increases the risk of autism. CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta recently said, "We are not sure as a scientific community what causes autism, but vaccines do not." With the overwhelming evidence that there is no link between vaccines and the risk of autism, I strongly support mandatory vaccinations for childhood infectious diseases. While a small percentage may suffer from adverse side effects, the benefits of a regulated vaccination program are enormous. Few parents in the U.S. have seen the suffering and death brought on by some infectious diseases. According to the World Health Organization, every year 2.5 million unvaccinated children worldwide die of diseases that vaccines could have prevented. In the article, The Vaccine Debate, an interview with Daniel Salmon, Ph.D., MPH, of the Institute for Vaccine Safety at Johns Hopkins states, "There has always been some controversy surrounding vaccines, but in the past that was usually overridden by the fear of the disease itself." He discusses the development of the polio vaccine and how people would line up to get it no matter what because they were so afraid of the disease. He stresses that a big part of the problem is that the general public is not afraid of these diseases and does not see the need for the vaccine. If this attitude continues to prevail, then these devastating diseases will make a comeback. Without vaccines, epidemics of many preventable diseases could occur, resulting in increased and unnecessary illness, disability, and death. I would like to encourage you to educate your family and friends about the consequences of not having children vaccinated. Explain to them how herd immunity is necessary to control the devastating diseases. Parents have an obligation to not only protect their own children's health, but also that of the public at large.